Hi, I'm Patrick. I'm 37. And last Thanksgiving, my mom passed out envelopes to everyone at dinner, little bonuses. For helping around the house. When she skipped me, my brother smirked and said, "Guess you don't count." I just smiled, took a bite of pie, and waited. That night, I shut down every account I'd funded for the past 6 years. Mortgage, utilities, car insurance, phone plan, even the family Netflix. By morning, their cards were declining. But what they really lost wasn't just their comforts. It was me. Let me back up. I moved to Seattle 6 years ago to take a job in software development. Cybersecurity. High pay, good benefits. I lived quiet. I cooked. I hiked. I built a life. But back in Pennsylvania, my family had other plans for my paycheck. See, it started small. After Dad died, there were funeral costs. Then medical bills. I stepped in. It felt right. Natural. I was the dependable one. I've always been. Even when I was a kid. Mom was a mess after Dad. Bennett, my younger brother, couldn't cope. Dropped out of school. Started working part-time at a gym, barely enough to buy protein powder. So I filled in. Covered the mortgage. Paid for Mom's car. Took care of Bennett's insurance, even though the guy never worked more than 20 hours a week. At first, it felt temporary. Just until they got back on their feet. 6 years later, the mortgage was still mine. So were the groceries, the phone bill, the new roof, the streaming services, Christmas gifts they gave each other but I paid for. I kept a spreadsheet. It was supposed to be for budgeting. It turned into something else. Proof. Proof that I existed in that house even if only as an invisible ATM. The number at the bottom of that spreadsheet? $187,000. That's not counting gifts, flights, or the roof. That's just the regular stuff. $3,000 a month. Every month. For 6 years. I never got a thank you? Never even got a how are you? The group chat buzzed daily with gym selfies from Bennett, tomato harvests from Mom's garden, vacation photos from my cousins. But if I posted something? A photo from my balcony. A hike in the Cascades. A promotion at work. Silence. Nothing. So when Mom invited me home for Thanksgiving, I hesitated. Tickets were expensive, $6.40 last minute, but she said the whole family would be there. She said it wouldn't be the same without me. She said they missed me. I wanted to believe her. I arrived to a picture-perfect dining room. Mom's best china. Stuffing, gravy, the works. It smelled like childhood. Like maybe I'd made the right choice. We ate. We talked. Well, they talked. I mostly listened. Bennett went on about some upcoming bodybuilding comp. Mom beamed at him like he was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Aunt Frances asked about my job, but before I could answer, Uncle Jameson hijacked the conversation to rant about a plumber. I smiled. I chewed. I stayed useful. Then came the envelopes. Mom stood up, glowing. "A little bonus," she said, "for everyone who helps around here." She passed them out one by one. Aunt Frances got one. Jameson. Kimberly. Even Kimberly's husband, Joshua, who'd married into the family and lived 2 hours away. Bennett opened his and laughed. "Mom! This is like $500. You earned it, sweetheart," Mom said, kissing his head. I watched. Quiet. I counted the envelopes in her hand. I counted the people at the table. The math didn't work. She walked right past me. Sat down. Sipped her wine. Bennett looked at me. "Guess you don't count," he said, grinning. Everyone chuckled. I didn't. I just smiled back, took another bite of pie, and chewed. It tasted like nothing. Then I said it. Calm. Even. Well, that's clear enough. Nobody looked at me. Nobody said, "Wait, what about Patrick?" I wasn't even an afterthought. I helped clean up. Loaded the dishwasher. Wiped the counters. I hugged everyone goodbye, same as always. I drove back to the hotel. Opened my laptop. Stared at my spreadsheet. $187,000. And I didn't count. So I made a new spreadsheet. And then I started deleting things. Canceling payments. Cutting cords. By morning, their lives were about to get very, very real. The first text came at 11:11 a.m. The next day. Mom, Patrick, the mortgage payment didn't go through. Can you check? I didn't reply. At 3:52 p.m., another. Mom, the bank called. They said the auto payment was cancelled. Was this a mistake? No mistake. By 6 p.m., my phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Bennett, yo, Netflix isn't working. Did you forget to pay the bill? Aunt Frances, Patrick, my phone's not working. Did something happen to the plan? Uncle Jameson, hey kid, mine too. What's going on? The group chat exploded. Bennett, seriously, dude. This is childish. Mom, Patrick, please call me. I don't understand what's happening. I didn't respond. I made dinner instead. Pasta. Just garlic, butter, parmesan. Simple. Real. I sat at my little dining table and actually tasted my food for the first time in weeks. At 9:03 p.m., I finally sent one message. To Mom, no mistake. Then I set my phone to Do Not Disturb and went to bed. Saturday morning, the calls started again. I let them ring. My phone stacked with voicemails. I finally picked up at 2 p.m. Patrick, thank God, Mom said. Her voice was shrill and panicked. The mortgage, what's going on? The electric company sent a shut-off notice. My phone is off. Bennett's too. Did someone hack your account? No, I said. Calm. Cold. I cancelled everything. A long pause. You what? I cancelled the payments. Mortgage. Utilities. Insurance. Phones. Streaming. All of it. Patrick, this isn't funny. I'm not joking. But why? Why would you do this? Because I don't count. Remember? Another pause. Oh, for God's sake, she snapped, her tone shifting from panic to annoyed. That's what this is about. The envelopes? Patrick, they were for people who help around the house. You don't even live here. I've been paying the mortgage for 6 years. That's different. How? Because you're helping family. That's what you're supposed to do. And what am I supposed to get in return? This is so selfish, Patrick. I didn't raise you to keep score like this. No, I said, quieter now. You raised me to give until there was nothing left. And you raised Bennett to take. Her gasp was audible. How dare you? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me one time in the last 6 years you called to ask how I was doing. Not for money. Just to ask? Nothing. Dead silence. That's what I thought. I let that hang for a second. Then she said it. Quiet. Calculated. Your father would be disappointed in you. That one hit. But not the way she hoped. Not with guilt. With clarity. I'm done, Mom. I'm done being invisible. I'm done funding a life I'm not part of. You're part of this family. No, I said. I'm not. You made that very clear. I hung up. She called back immediately. I declined the call. She tried again. Declined. Third time? Blocked. Then I blocked Bennett. Aunt Frances. Uncle Jameson. Even Kimberly. I sat in the silence of my apartment and felt it, something strange. Relief. Real, full-bodied relief. The world didn't collapse. No one died. I just stopped. And the only thing breaking was the illusion that I was ever part of that family in the first place. I didn't just stop paying. I documented everything. Every wire transfer. Every bill. Every emergency fund, every. Just this once. Venmo. Every birthday, every streaming service, every protein powder charge from Bennett's supplement addiction. I opened 6 years' worth of bank statements, went through them line by line with a highlighter, and made a spreadsheet that could be presented in court. Date. Amount. Category. Recipient. Purpose. Sometimes the purpose was vague. Phone bill. Groceries. Other times? Crystal clear. Roof repair deposit, $8,000. Car insurance premium for Bennett, $312. Plane tickets to Florida, $970. The total? $214,600. Not $187,000 like I thought. $214,600. Over 6 years. More than $3,000 a month. I printed it. 12 pages. stapled and sealed in a red folder like a case file. Not because I wanted to sue them, though they'd soon threaten to sue me, but because I finally saw it for what it was. I hadn't been supporting my family. I had been funding codependency. And it was about to blow up. The email came on a Thursday, 1 week after Thanksgiving. Subject line: Urgent family matter. From a lawyer named Sean Flores. He represented my mother. His email was polite, professional, and so off-the-wall insulting it made me laugh. She was requesting a meeting to discuss ongoing family obligations and financial expectations based on historic precedent. It ended with a little gem. We trust that Mr. Sullivan will resume his familial contributions, failing which we will be exploring legal remedies. They were threatening to sue me for, what? Being too generous, then stopping? I didn't reply right away. I poured a drink, sat on my balcony, stared out at the Space Needle blinking against the steel-gray Seattle sky. And I smiled. Because now? I had proof. I drafted my reply the next morning. It was short. Mr. Flores, I have no legal obligation to support my adult family members. I am 37. My mother is 64 and owns her home. My brother is 32 and lives rent-free. Please find attached a spreadsheet detailing $214,600 in voluntary financial support over 6 years. Public records indicating my mother's mortgage history. Screenshots of social media posts showing my brother's lifestyle choices and lack of employment. This support is now terminated. Do not contact me again. 30 minutes later? Reply received. Understood. This office will not pursue this matter further. I didn't just smile this time. I laughed. But I wasn't done. I checked the county clerk website. Pulled the deed from my mom's house. It was in her name alone, purchased for $92,000 in 1987. Paid off in 2003. Then refinanced in 2015 for $180,000. Likely to pay for Dad's funeral, and then? Everything else. Current balance, $156,000. 30 days past due. The house I'd been paying for? Was already in foreclosure. And their lives were about to fall apart for real. By December, the cracks became craters. It started with the mortgage. 2 months unpaid. The bank issued a notice of default. Mom had 90 days to pay or they'd initiate foreclosure. She called me from Aunt Frances's phone. I didn't answer. The voicemail was 4 minutes of crying. Patrick, please. The bank is taking the house. Bennett has nowhere to go. You're destroying the family. She never said sorry. Just you're destroying the family. As if I hadn't been holding it up like Atlas with a bad back for 6 years. Then the utilities started shutting off. The gas first. Then electric. Water followed. Mom had to open new accounts under her own name. Which meant security deposits. Which she didn't have. She borrowed from Aunt Frances. Who then texted me. I'm not taking sides, Patrick. But maybe this has gone far enough. No, it hadn't even started yet. Bennett got pulled over for a broken taillight and, guess what, no car insurance. The policy I used to pay for was cancelled. The fine? $500. He posted a sweaty mirror selfie captioned, Life's hard when fake family walks out. Fake family? From the guy who lived off my dime while preaching discipline and #grindset on Instagram like a protein-dusted philosopher. His followers showered him with support. Keep your circle tight, bro. Cut off toxic people. You don't need fake love. I screenshotted it. I didn't reply. Because I didn't need to. Let them perform their pity parade. Let them eat hashtags. I was finally done funding the circus. The group chat I'd muted but hadn't left? It was chaos. Aunt Frances trying to play peacemaker. Jameson saying I'd gone too far. Kimberly saying everyone needed to take a breath. Bennett calling me names. Coward. Selfish. Snake. Mom wrote paragraphs. Essays, practically. I gave you everything. I worked so hard after your father died. I never asked for anything in return. Your dad would be ashamed of you. But she had asked? Over 200 times. And I had said yes. 200 times. I didn't say anything back. Because Thanksgiving taught me something they never understood. Silence is a full sentence. Then came Bennett's Hail Mary. A text from an unknown number, probably a friend's phone. Patrick, you win. Okay? You made your point. Mom's about to lose the house. Just help with the mortgage until she figures it out. Please. I stared at the screen for a while. Then typed back. 6 years, Bennett. I helped for 6 years. Figure it out. Block the number. On Christmas, I roasted a small turkey breast for one. Watched It's a Wonderful Life. Took a walk in the cold Seattle rain. It was the peaceful holiday I'd had in years. No noise. No guilt. No smirks. No envelopes. Just me. New Year's Eve. I was halfway through a French press and a bagel when I saw the email. Subject line. I'm sorry. From Mom. I didn't open it right away. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering, heart beating faster than I wanted to admit. I told myself it was probably guilt manipulation in cursive font. But it wasn't. It was something else. Patrick. I'm sorry. I should have given you an envelope. I should have recognized everything you've done. You're right. I took you for granted. Bennett did too. We all did. I'm asking you as your mother. Please help us. We're going to lose the house. Bennett is trying to find full-time work, but it's hard. I'm looking into selling, but we're behind on payments. Please. I'm begging you. It was the first time she'd admitted it. I took you for granted. But here's the thing about apologies that show up only after the consequences. They're not reparations. They're negotiations. I typed out a reply. Deleted it. Typed another. Deleted that one too. Eventually, I settled on the truth. Mom. I appreciate the apology. But an apology doesn't erase 6 years. It doesn't erase Thanksgiving. It doesn't erase the silence every time I shared something in the group chat, or the fact that the only time anyone ever reached out was for a bill. I'm not responsible for fixing this. You and Bennett are adults. You'll figure it out, or you won't. But it's not my problem anymore. I hope you find a solution. But it won't be me. Send. No dramatic flair. No mic drop. Just closure. She didn't reply. But 2 months later, I heard from Aunt Frances. A Facebook message. Just thought you should know, your mom sold the house. She got $298,000 for it. After mortgage and back payments, she walked away with about $120,000. She and Bennett moved into a 2-bedroom apartment across town. He got a full-time job at a warehouse. She's working part-time at the grocery store. They're managing. Barely, but managing. She added. I understand why you did it. I don't agree with how, but I understand why. I thanked her. I meant it. I checked Bennett's Instagram out of morbid curiosity. Gone were the gym flexes and #AlphaMindset captions. Now, a photo of him in a warehouse uniform. Caption. Honest work. Comments were supportive. I felt nothing. No smugness. No gloating. No vengeance. Just quiet. Empty space where the anger used to live. That was the real surprise. I didn't want them to fail. I just wanted to stop failing myself. It came in May. A short email. No emojis. No paragraphs. No manipulations masquerading as concern. Just this. I'm sorry I wasn't a better mother to you. You deserve better. I hope you're happy. Mom. I read it sitting in a coffee shop near my apartment, drizzle pattering against the windows, the barista calling out oat milk lattes like it was any other morning. And I just sat there. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I didn't feel much of anything at first. Because what do you do with an apology that arrives after the war ends, long after the battlefield's been cleared and you've already rebuilt somewhere else? What do you do when someone finally says the words you begged for in silence, but years too late? I didn't reply. Not because I wanted to punish her. Because there was nothing left to say. Instead, I closed the email, opened my laptop, and started a freelance project I'd picked up, something small for a nonprofit out here that needed a security audit. Just enough to keep me busy, but not enough to burn me out. I'd also planned a hiking trip for the weekend. The North Cascades. A trail I'd done before but wanted to do again, this time with clearer lungs, a lighter heart. Seattle had become home in a way Pennsylvania never really was. Not because of geography, or coffee, or mountains. Because it was mine. The first place I'd drawn a line and stood behind it. I thought about forgiveness. Whether I owed it to them. Whether I owed it to myself. I didn't have an answer. Not yet. But I had something better. Distance. Not just in miles, but in mind. That old version of me, the dependable son, the uncomplaining provider, the boy who mailed home checks like love letters he never got replies to? He was gone. In his place was a man who finally understood the difference between generosity and self-sacrifice. Between being loving and being used. And I didn't hate them for what they did. I hated that I let it happen for so long. I finished my coffee, walked home through the drizzle, and passed a window with a "For Rent" sign on it. I smiled. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't for rent. It was a Thursday night when I found the photo. I was organizing old files on my computer, trying to clean house digitally the way I'd done emotionally, when I stumbled on a folder I hadn't opened in years. Old scans home. Inside were images I must have digitized a decade ago. Childhood photos. Yellowed report cards. My middle school science fair certificate. And one picture that stopped me cold. Me at 12, standing in the kitchen, flour on my cheeks, apron hanging crooked off one shoulder. I was smiling, really smiling, while Mom stood behind me with a hand on my shoulder, pointing at a bowl of stuffing. Thanksgiving, 1999. I remembered that year. It was the first year I helped her cook the entire meal. I was proud. She was proud of me. I remembered exactly what she said while we stirred the stuffing. "You're my rock, Patrick. My dependable boy. I don't know what I'd do without you." That phrase had stuck with me. You're my rock. I hadn't known it then, but it was the moment I'd accepted a role I'd spend the next 25 years performing. Dependable. Responsible. Steady. A rock doesn't complain. A rock doesn't crack. A rock just stays put and holds everything up. But the truth is, even rocks erode. And mine had worn away slowly. Not in landslides, but in quiet weathering. Just this once. Can you cover it? Every skip thank you. Every envelope handed to someone else. And then I remembered something worse. I was 16. I'd saved for months to buy myself a computer. I used Mac. I had dreams, graphic design, digital art, maybe even animation someday. It was the first thing I'd ever bought entirely on my own. I came home one day and it was gone. Sold. Mom said they needed the money. Bennett had just turned 16 and wanted a car. A used Civic had popped up for cheap. She looked at me with watery eyes and said, "You understand, right? He needs it more. You can use the library computers." I nodded. I always nodded. Because rocks don't cry. But sitting there in my apartment in Seattle, looking at that picture of me with flour on my face and a full heart, I finally did. I cried. Hard. Because I remembered that boy. And I realized I'd been grieving him all along. Not just the family that never saw him, but the part of him that kept waiting to be seen. And I whispered to the screen, like he could hear me. "You count." I said it again, louder this time. "You count." He did. I did. Not because I paid the bills. Not because I kept quiet. But because I existed. And that was enough. I didn't burn bridges. I just stopped paving roads that only I traveled. The family I was born into had always seen my worth in transactions. But I learned something in the silence that followed. Value isn't measured by what you give. It's by who sees you when you're no longer useful. In March, I took that hiking trip. Alone. The trail was wet, mossy, sharp with pine and cold wind. And somewhere near the summit, I stopped, looked out over the evergreens and mountains, and just breathed. No phone. No obligations. No guilt. Just me. And in that stillness, I finally felt it. Not anger. Not grief. Not even closure. Freedom. They kept the house by selling it. They kept their lives by starting over. But I kept myself. The first time I ever chose me over being the hero in someone else's story. And no, I never got an envelope. But I got peace. And peace doesn't come with cash inside. It comes with nothing, and that's what makes it everything. I walked back down the mountain, rain hitting my jacket, not feeling heavy anymore. And I smiled. A real one. For once, I wasn't the dependable one. I was just me. And that was finally enough.